So I grew up outside of Boston. My mother was not a fan of pop music. She thought it was Satan. She thought it was not good. And when you walk around Boston, you see bumper stickers for Kiss 108 everywhere, especially when you're a kid. Like that's the high fructose corn syrup station. It's like, whoa, Kiss, and that was a legendary station at that time. The first thing I did was listen to Kiss, and I started making demo tapes. I had a karaoke machine. I had 3 CDs. One was DC Talk, the Christian pop group. One was the Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego soundtrack. And one was actually a double CD. It was the Entertainment Weekly's Hot Dance Mix. KRS-One, Please Don't Go, a frickin' power for sure. Love that track. I think it was KRS-One, or it was a KWS, whichever one. That's all the same. That said, yeah. So I made a radio station. I had a karaoke machine where I would essentially, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was recording an air check, and I would call it Kids 101.1 KIDZ. And because I knew that there was W's and there was K's. I was at a W. I'm like, well, I want to be cool and be a K. So I did that, and then I would take these tapes and I would bring them to school and listen to them while I was at school, and then I would eventually start giving them to my my music teacher, Mr. Mafucci, and he would start listening to them and like critiquing my work. Unbelievable. Like, yeah, no idea that this is the way it actually worked. It was just like, I just want somebody to hear me. Like, I was looking up, those Radio Shack, like, hey, back when, when there was a Radio Shack, hey, you could broadcast in real FM. And it's like, you could broadcast for like 20 feet. I didn't realize that. But I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm in a condo right now on Revere Beach, about 5 stories up. That could reach to like the people on the sand over there. Maybe that'd be cool. Yeah. And I was looking into it, and that was before really the internet, and yeah. So started with a love for television and radio. I that was my radio side. TV. I started doing public access. Actually, right up there, I have a shrine to Double Dare. I watched Double Dare as a kid, and that made me want to get into television. And so I started doing public access at 8, and then started my own TV show at 14. It turned into a music show at 15 or 16. I called it M Zone, and was interviewing musicians, Newfound Glory, Britney Spears, 98 Degrees. Like,
did the M stand for musician?
The M stood for music.
Oh, okay.
And I still own the domain, and I think M Zone could be a brand one day. Still,
you own like a lot of these, don't you?
I have a lot of ideas that I don't have time for. Yeah.
Same. Oh my God. Same.
If there was only 900 more hours in a day, damn it, I would be deadly.
Or like if you could duplicate yourself.
Yes. Oh man, if I could duplicate myself. Like, it's awesome seeing the people that are really taking the ball and running with it, even if they're not being told to take the ball. They're finding some way to earn their keep. It's not obviously the jobs I don't think are increasing in the industry right now, sadly. But I think there are people that, especially that are outside of the morning day part, where they're saying, if I don't fight to survive, I am dead in the water. So yeah, I mean, you're starting, this past year has shown a lot of creativity from a lot of different people, and hopefully that's rewarded. We'll see.
Your whole end of that video talking to Nick, where you're talking about creating a gig if there isn't one, and all these different ways. I'm like how else are you going to get noticed? And that's what's cool about social media, is you don't have to rely on just mailing a package to somebody or something. You can get creative as shit and get in front of so many people.
Yeah, that's when I was trying to get jobs, I would send packages. I've done all the gimmick. Like, I sent flowers to a program director I thought was a man.
Oh no.
There's Chaz in Connecticut. I sent flowers thinking it was a man, and like the card has the song, like, you would open it would start playing "Let Me Call You Sweetheart," but like the first words in the card were "Let me call you boss," and like this is like $80. This is pretty freaking big. Like, I am broke as shit at this point.
Yeah.
So I send this in and I hear nothing. I'm like, what the fuck? I just sent an $80. So then I reach out to a friend of mine that's in the building. I'm like, did you ever hear anything? She's like, he's like, yeah, she got them and she thought they were sexist and rude. I'm like, what the fuck? The only Chaz I know is a dude. No. That was before, jock pictures being on the website and stuff like that. And yeah, so that failed miserably. The pizza to Kiss 108 in Boston, on the lid of the pizza, there was a taped demo.
Okay.
And the person who had left the night show had actually dropped my name to the program director, saying, you should look into this guy. He's got a lot of, energy. I'm like, awesome. Mm-hmm. So I didn't hear anything for 3 weeks. I'm like, you know what? Let me just get a little bit of get in there. So I go to the pizza shop down the street. Nice pizza, by the way. Bring it over, leave it at the front desk. I get a text an hour and a half later from the night guy who had a screenshot of somebody else laughing at the email that was sent from the program director that said free pizza in the break room, and my demo was still attached to it. So that did not work out so well. That was not meant to be. So, I'm not bitter. Ultimately what it is it's stuff like that's going to happen. If you've had an absolutely beautiful life in radio with no issues whatsoever, you've done it wrong.
Oh my God, I totally agree, especially because then if you try to get out or if something happens to where you're forced to get out, then you have no
idea how to handle it. No clue. Exactly. Yeah, you like strife and like hearing no or hearing nothing is kind of the rule. And then I just pretty much focused all my energy on making my online brand as strong as humanly possible. So it made me look like a bigger deal than I might have been, but it made it look like I had my crap together. And that's luckily, I think, what got me to where I am so far, at least. Certainly.
It seemed like you picked up on that again way earlier on. There's so many people that don't even get it now.
I wanted to do more, and ultimately, Shawn, you're doing fine. We don't want you doing long form stuff on the show. You're killing it. Just leave it alone. I'm like, okay, but I know if all I am is a 7-second intro guy, I'm dead. Like I need to prove that I'm more than that, because if I don't, then everyone's gonna be like, well, yeah, he's expendable. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be the expendable guy. So that's where I started this. I started in 2019, was doing it in the 4:00 hour of the show.
Was it the end of 2019?
Beginning okay. February 2019, we started doing this, and it was just me and part-timers at the station. And then eventually we just got some people from the outside that wanted to be a part of it, and just finding interesting people to bounce topics off of and just chat. It was just long form chat to get people on Facebook that weren't listening to our brand, but were dicking off on social media. We can grab them, put the logo in front of them and say, hey, just in case you're leaving work in about an hour, 5:00 rolls around, you're going to remember that Mix logo. Hopefully you'll turn it on. Mm-hmm. Pandemic happens. Obviously that changes. Now I'm at the house. People are back in the studio now. I'm kind of stuck here until television goes back to the studio, because they're using the computer that I use for Free for All. And this computer is my personal computer. But once I get back there, it's quite like, we've been doing 7 p.m. and we've garnered a brand new audience at 7 p.m. So I have no idea how to go about it. But this, they've sold it to a car dealership in town, and they were thinking of different ways to be able to monetize it. Been getting up at 6 a.m., tracking Boston, getting the kids ready, television 10 to 1, TV, radio 2 to 6, 2 to 7 really, but I track the last hour, feed the kids, go back upstairs, do Free for All for 2.5 hours, and then go downstairs, hang out with the kids for 30 minutes, get them to bed at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, which, it's 4 and 2. Mm-hmm. And then try to cut some video from the show so I can put it on social. And by the time that happens, it's 2 a.m. I'm like, well, damn. And then I go to sleep 4 hours. I wake up. So yeah, it's kind of it's a hamster wheel right now, but I have a feeling it's going to be for something good. I have a feeling that the energy I'm putting forward is going to pay off, and people are going to see that work, and they're going to say, you know what, that's somebody that we need. We need somebody that's not just going to sit there, get the check 4 hours and they're out. We need somebody that's going to fight for the paycheck. And that's what I'm trying to do every day. So no one asked me to do this. I've been doing it on my own, and I've given them the ability to monetize it, and they have. And so I feel like I'm doing what I can in a weird time to help the building, and hopefully that's rewarded. But ultimately what I want to do is creative radio. I don't want to be the liner jock dude. When I can look at the monitor, see I have 4 seconds till I have to talk, have enough time to put on the headphones and bang out that break, hit the post, great break, put it down, and not even feel my heart rate elevate 1 BPM higher. Like I'm not like, I want to be nervous cracking the mic again. I just want to do something creative, and I want to try something new, and I want to do it across the console from another person that is of like mind and that we click with together, and just try to shake up the industry a bit. That's what I tried to do with this. I think this is where the industry needs to go. I think this whole radio or audio only thing in the world of social media, I just think we got to put it to the side. Like we got to start putting visuals to what we do in half the stuff that we do now. Otherwise, as soon as it airs, it dies on the vine. How do you discover a podcast? The only way we discover Joe Rogan is because we see Joe Rogan. Not incredibly compelling video, but it is so shareable and viral. That's why his stuff gets millions of views. But if that same interview, if all of his shows were just audio only, he would not be nearly as big as he is now.
That's a great point. I think you mentioned that in the video also, something about like how often do you see viral audio, you know, like, and I was like, that's a really, really great point.
Wow, dude, yeah, the last viral audio there was Napster, and they ripped that thing down. Again, it's not even I'm not saying that audio only is bad. No, but audio only is bad for discovery. It's great for getting like for in-car listening, but as far as discovery and like being able to find that new thing and being like, whoa.
Yes.
So all these morning shows that have these great bits, they're funny as hell. People love them. But wow, we're seeing the numbers go down, or we'd like to go to a younger audience or whatever the case may be. Record it. Like if me, Shawn Tempesta, not LLC, can buy 13 grand worth of equipment with my bonus checks. I can buy that and then create a 5-camera setup, and I can have it auto switch and not even touch it. If I can do that, every radio group can do that. Put a 4-camera situation in every studio and have it automatically switch, and then say to the producers, all right, cool. We're going to sell this first of all to whatever advertiser. It's going to pay for itself in a year. And then from that point on, it's just making us money, and it's building us a much bigger fan base. We have 20,000 people on our Facebook page. Now the video, which they push in the algorithm harder, is going to get pushed out to more people, which is free advertising. So we don't have to do TV ads anymore. And we can PPM encode it. Yeah. So if we PPM encode it, we can maybe win another quarter hour. Like it's just there for the taking. And unlike every other country on the planet doing this, Australia and England and the Netherlands and Belgium, all with these amazing video aspects to their radio broadcasts. It's like it barely exists here. Or if it does exist, it ends up being like a self-brewed thing like I'm doing, or what Carla Marie and Anthony are doing, or what any of the other jocks out there are doing. They're using their own cell phones, or just kind of like cobbling stuff. It's like there should be a way. Yeah. We should be able to watch our favorite radio shows. That's what I think. It should just be a somewhat of a standardized thing. Like again, when I helped to redesign this logo. I'm incredibly proud of how this logo.
I love it. I love that logo.
We use this, and it's been ripped off several times. All of them are not as good as this logo. Sorry, guys. I also own the trademark, so be careful. That said, we use the same colors, but I wanted it to be something that was bolder and bigger. And I want to treat this like a brand. Like when this logo came out, I'm like, guys, anytime this logo is used, I want to see it first. We've got to treat this like a brand, not just a logo. This needs to be Nike. This needs to be Coke. This needs to be a lifestyle thing. This can't just be, station banner, slap it on. Who cares what the colors are, if they're accurate or not? We need to make this like canon. This needs to be the whole freaking game. And I've been very protective of that. And I think
so many people don't understand that though. So like, that's why when like you talk about that stuff, especially like from a branding perspective, it just makes me so happy because it just makes so much sense.
You have to fish in several different ponds now. It used to be you crack the mic, you're done, you go home. And now, it's exhausting. Early on, they were blocking MySpace from the servers.
Really?
You couldn't visit MySpace from the station.
Yeah, they used to be weird about that kind of shit, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, guys, no, we need to be there, guys. We need to have yes, this is where it's going. I think it's obnoxious now, but yeah, it's kind of the way it is at the moment.
MySpace is the first place I started interacting with radio DJs and stuff like that. Cause I wasn't one to call often. Like I would call when I was trying to be the obnoxious, please play Hanson Bop. Like when I was trying to be obnoxious.
Oh, you were the Hanson girl?
Yeah, I was.
Oh God, I knew a Hanson girl. They're the weirdest.
We were the worst. I'm obsessed with Twitch now.
You know what it's doing is it's proving. I think Twitch has been a proving ground now for jocks that want to show they're capable of more than what they've been allowed to do.
Yes.
Like Sarah Quinn, who's on the show, is a freaking rock star, and she's great and a riot. And last night, I can't even just tell you what happened.
I was there.
You were there. You made it happen.
For $50 for it, John.
$50.
I woke up feeling dirty this morning.
I felt great. And then Lux out of St. Louis. She's great on air, but her freaking TikTok is amazing. Yes. That's why I know her, because of TikTok. And she's really engaging on Twitch, and all these other talents. Like these are the talents that The industry needs to scoop up and say, we are going to reward your creativity and we are going to give you chances to do something different. Because, man, if we don't reward the people that are putting in that extra effort, that are looking for the future of radio, looking how to have that evolution of the next step of radio, not end radio. I'm not saying, no, radio should be TV. I'm saying, no, radio talent are infinitely more capable of picking up the ball and filling out a 4-minute break by a wide margin than television talent, because typically television talent, most of them, not all, are very beholden to the teleprompter. We can entertain anyone. You see the freaking red light, you have 4 minutes and go, boom. And you can come up with something in a second and make it happen. The average, the somewhat better than average radio DJ. That's why I want to have video do it, because all it does is it gets our radio talent in front of a larger audience. And the bigger the audience, the more people might be like, what's that guy doing over here? If we can bring them from here and bring them back to radio, that's the whole thing. And if not, maybe we could just bring them to television, radio, and TV. You know, like there's the biggest sports station or biggest sports show in the country is Felger and Maz on the Sports Up in Boston. They simulcast on NBC Sports Boston. They don't have to. They could have an app on their freaking smart TV and people would watch it on their smart TV. If they're stuck at home or working from home, they would just do that. But like when they have a 75-inch screen or a smart speaker, why aren't we on both? We just should be on both. And have them something to, it can't just be a logo and a little waveform. We need to see what's going on. I want to see something more. That's where I love to see this industry go. And man, it's never been cheaper to do it. Here we are, 2021. And it's just like, we are all our own broadcast company.
100%. And,
you know, I think that there's some really creative stuff out there that I think that the big players should say, you know what, we need to be fishing this pond too, because if we don't do it, we're getting like, you know, we're competing with 7-year-olds opening freaking toys on YouTube. Like that's what we're doing. We're competing against everyone. We're all digital now. Like we're all competing against everything else. This is for competing against television and radio and Netflix and all the other stuff. So I just want to see us be in all those places. So there's no ignoring us.
Exactly.
You know, I started part-time. I'd drive an hour and a half north to New Hampshire and then an hour and a half south to Massachusetts. Sometimes it would be 6 hours of driving to do 2 shifts in a day. And I'd make just enough money to fill the tank. And that was about it. But at least it was a proving ground. Now, for the most part, weekend proving grounds are almost gone. Like they're just no place. So, but if you have a promo girl that is, you know, really spunky and fun, and you know that if you had a weekend opportunity, give it to her. Well, what if you had a video podcast studio where you could just say, you know what, here, make something, be creative, be fun. And maybe you find a spark there, and maybe you lose your morning person the next day and you need somebody to go in. You've just created that. But if we're not going to create the next generation of these people and we're just going to rely on, oh, well, that person has 50,000 TikTok followers, that doesn't mean they're going to be good on radio.
Oh, thank you, Shawn.
So, you know, so create, we got to cultivate the next group, because I'll eventually age out. We'll all eventually age out. And who's going to be there?
Yeah.
And if we're not cultivating the young and we're ignoring them, then we are going to lose them. And then we're all going to be oldie stations, and then we'll all fade into the spectrum. And that's it. My last show in studio, when I realized this is probably the last time they'll allow guests in here for a while. I almost broke down on the show. I was like, you guys, none of you get paid to be here. You just want to be here. And you're making my dream come true by you guys being here. So thank you. Cause like truly, otherwise it's just me talking to myself, and I've done those streams and no one gives a shit.
They don't. I think
especially if it's a dude, girls, attractive girl, they might give a little more of a shit about you, not about me. You know, now that we're letting people in and they're seeing that it's kind of just like there's wood paneling everywhere and stuff like that. It's like, no, we gotta start looking the part. At least the top 10 markets, start looking the part.
Some stuff that comes out of the top markets, and I'm just like, how is that possible?
I won't say what station, but I witnessed a design packet for a new logo being designed for a station. And I saw it coming from corporate, and it made me happy. Because it had, these are the colors, these are the rules, this is how the positioning statement. I was like, that's what we need to be doing. It shouldn't be just like, hey, make something in Microsoft Paint, slap it on a banner, there it is. Who cares what the colors are? Like, no, we need to like treat these things with respect And like, this is our face until we show our face. This needs to be so, if it has pimples all over it, no one wants to look at it.
Yep. Yeah.
Look at how freaking big they look. Even if the ratings are in the middle, because then it's all about engagement with the brand. It's, if the top station is, they may like, no, I'm not going to pay for that. I want to be on that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then you become the top station. It just, you'll if you watch the show and you enjoy it, chances are you will know what station I'm on. Yep. Hell, people know Chapman's the advertise. I have a remote in 2 hours.
Yeah.
How many freaking radio remotes for car dealerships have you been to where a ton of people show up and all you have is chapstick to give away?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. We're going to have at least, I'm guessing, a half dozen to a dozen people show up from Free for All alone.
If I was there, I would absolutely stop by.
Me too. And it's just like, and everyone on the show knows they advertise, and people actually spend channel points to play the jingle. Who would spend their own channel points to play an advertisement? They do it on this show.
I get goosebumps when you say that.
Yeah, but that's like, listen, rather than say, advertising bad, how about we find a way to include them into something that's cool that we're doing, to the point where like, wow, it's cool that they support this cool thing that they're doing. There's other things that we can do. We could be creative to not sell a 60, but to sell them included in the brand. But if we were to even have like a 5-second live read between songs and just switch advertising for that, it's like, this hour of music brought to you by blah. Done. And you're still hearing music, and no one's turning it off to like, well, I heard an advertisement for 3 seconds, click. No one's doing that. I think we just got to like break the mold a bit and see how we can modernize in a world where people are offended for having to watch 5 seconds of a pre-roll ad before they can hit skip ad.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just mix the medicine in more. First station I worked at was actually Kiss 108. I was a board op there, and they would have you stack the commercials based on how energetic the commercials were. They would get a number from 5 to 1. So 5s were like, yeah, those are awesome. And then 1s were like, this is a freaking funeral march. So we would stack them. So then like you'd go to commercial break, and then the first one's like, all right, yeah, this is hype. This is awesome. And then it kind of like get a little bit more, but maybe that gets them to stay another minute or two. I don't know what the research showed on that. But maybe that gets them to hang out a little bit longer, and then you win another quarter hour. I'm not saying spot loads are going to disappear, but like, I just think that there's ways that we can monetize that are less quote unquote offensive to the, when it comes to feature sponsorships, show sponsorships, studio sponsorships, 5-second reads between songs. You could do stuff like that and maybe lessen the spot load from like 12 minutes to 8 minutes. Then it's not so jarring when you hear it. You might be able to do the full 8 minutes in a freaking whole one big batch, and then have 50 minutes of hit music every hour and do that. But then in the same breath, to talk about the sales department, I mean, they're taxed to the freaking nines too. The sales departments aren't getting bigger. And, the ones that make a ton of money are the ones that have been selling the 30 and 60-second spots for 20, 30 years. And they don't necessarily want to sell the new stuff. So like, it's a tough, the past 20 years has been the most whiplashy growth across all spectrums, all industries ever. Like crazy. So I get like people are just like, where the hell do we do? I get it. But I think that there's things that we can do to get where we need to be. Do I like where it's going? Yes and no. I'm bullish on radio possibly harnessing this new technology and making our brands bigger in the eyes of the consumer. Yeah. I'm bearish on, there's just a lot of people being squeezed out. I'm not going to say that everyone that works in radio should be in radio. There's some people who do not deserve to be in radio. That said, there are a lot of great people that deserve to be in radio that are on the outside looking in right now. That's a bummer, because there's a lot of talented people on the sidelines, like Carla Marie and Anthony, like what they've been able to do, losing their gig, but staying on Twitch. And now they still have like a ridiculous fan base. And like that needs to be harnessed.
It's been cool getting to know, I mean, all of you over the past year. It's funny because, when I was talking to Chris, obviously the other day too, and I'm like, a year ago, I was like completely intimidated by Chris, like was never like,
I'm still intimidated by Chris. I haven't asked him on free for all. I'm just scared. He's such a freaking alpha male. I'm such a beta.
I think comes across that way, but like, I don't know. Cause that's what I told him. It was like, same way. I was just the way he is in his videos, but he was actually like super nice. And that was really cool. But, you know, and then like you know, saying a year ago, I was like ignoring you, like, but you were always in my head. I was like, okay.
Cause I messaged, I'm like, who the frig is this radio fam? Cause whatever the social media is, like, she should be running like a national social media, one of these companies, because it's like, it's so on point. And I DM'd, I'm like, who is this? And I'm not thinking it's a girl at all. Like, I'm like, this has got to be like some chubby freaking 42-year-old. Oh, radio back in the day, you know. No, it's like, this is, you're freaking what, 31?
No, 30. I'll be 36 this year.
36. Oh, it's okay. Well, hey, good for your skin regimen. But no, like, there are still people that are our age and younger. We rated a freaking 2 15-year-old kids doing a podcast on Twitch.
Yeah, I saw that.
These are kids that want to do radio. Anyone that has a podcast wants to do creative audio.
Yes.
That should be radio. We need to start getting them in and trying to play with our format a little bit, or in the places we can, say it's a night show or the overnights even, you just find a place to like experiment and see what works. You know, I think that overnights in this country, there should be a national overnight show. There are people that work third shift. They want company.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be Coast to Coast AM. There is a place for a creative show in the nighttime that is totally breaking the mold of what you think it should be, because you're not even counting that towards your ratings. Play with it.
And someone out there would be so excited to do it.
I would leave all of my jobs tonight to do an overnight show nationwide, just to be like a freak show, essentially do free for all on the radio. Oh my God, what a freaking dream that would be. And there are people that are there that would like to listen to it. But if we don't provide them anything, and if people call request lines and no one ever answers, then they're never going to call the request line again. Or if they call the request line and they never hear the request, I know we haven't played requests in a while, but like, I think that we need to have that sort of event listening again. That's why mornings are the whole game, because they're allowed to do something different compared to the rest of the day parts. And I get it. You don't want to have 9-minute talk breaks in an afternoon show on a music station, but like, experiment a little and make people care about because if it's just music, we're essentially Spotify you can't skip.
Exactly.
And if you let your personality, I think that was the one thing with PPM. We got afraid of personalities, and people don't want to hear people talk. No, people don't want to hear people talk about stupid shit.
Yes.
The more people care about your talent, the more people care about your brand. If you're just playing Justin Bieber, no one really cares about your brand. They're just listening to Justin Bieber. But if you're giving them something that you can't get anywhere else, which is you or that host or that show, then they're going to care about the brand. That's where I want this industry to realize the people are the thing that set us apart from everything else. And I know that the reality of the situation is not a lot of people are driving like they used to anymore. The numbers might not be where they need to be. I get it, but we cannot forget the thing that makes us special. The only thing that makes us special is our locality, who our talent is, and the fact that we can get out in the community, and Spotify and Pandora can't.
I forgot to mention that earlier when we were talking about the free for all. That's also been one of my favorite things, is watching. There's been specific people, that have like, come to tears also on the thing, just being so happy to connect with that. Or I can see like the spark in people's like, wow, like that, like Will, or just like certain people that it's just like, this really means something for them. Or even the cool connections you made with people like Pork Chop, that like brought something to the show. It's so cool.
And all it does is just draw more people to the brand, sure. But I'm not, when I do the show, I'm not thinking of the brand. I got to be honest. I'm like,
but it just happens. I think that's what's the best part about it.
And that's the thing. It's just human connection, and that's what makes radio special. But if it's you making a human connection with other people, like we have people that watch out of market, but we have a lot of people that watch in market that frankly are dreading the day that free for all goes to 4 p.m. because they might not be a part of it anymore, and they've literally made it a part of their lives to sit down at 7:00 and watch this show.
Yep.
And what can we say about radio, where people are like, I must listen to this? Usually just the morning show. And why is that? It's usually because they're the ones that can create the human connection. I've created a huge connection where I have 40, 50 people watching a show, and with no on-air advertisement, by the way, from the radio station. and I just think that's where we need to be. We need to find a way to not just have the human connection in the mornings and then hope they trickle down the way, but keep those connections going. There are stations in New Zealand and in England and in Australia where they have shows throughout the day. There's an afternoon show, I think, in Cincinnati through Hubbard. It's like that's a freaking unicorn.
Yeah.
But they have a better ability to make a human connection to the point where it's like, people are like, I want to listen to that Justin Bieber song. They're like, no, I want to listen to those talents, and I'll listen between those songs so I can get back to hearing them. I don't want to work in corporate. Almost the way I talk almost sounds like I want to be a PD or a corporate. It's the last thing I want to do. But man, if I have to, I just want to get us there, because the first creative one that goes there is going to blow the rest of them out of the water. I don't want to see a vacuum of talent where the people that have that energy leave and don't come back, and everyone's worked to the bone and we just can't do it anymore. Like, I don't want to get to that point, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then the ad rates go down because the product goes down, which makes the ad rates go down, which makes the product go down. And then we're all just, beamed out of one building. Like,
it seems like common sense, but I don't think it is.
The reality of it is we're emotionally invested, and the investors, the when it's a publicly traded company, are not. They're literally looking at black and white. They're looking at the number on the paper. They don't care about emotional investment. They care about line go up. That's all they care about. Yeah. And when that's what we're chasing, it happens so often. It's a losing battle. To a privately held company right now, to not have to be beholden to that and to make an investment on a moonshot idea that Wall Street might not like, but you have a hunch will work. That's freeing. But I understand, like, for the publicly traded companies, like, they got to do what makes the line go up. That's the whole game they're in. And ultimately, inevitably, it results in consolidation. There are people in this industry, even the people that work at corporate, that are passionate about radio. But when you're trying to battle that with people that are passionate about making money at all costs, it's a tough spot. I would love to see every media company go private. Oh, it'd be the greatest thing. Yeah. We can just focus on us, private and off of Nielsen.
Oh God. Yeah.
That when you're chasing quarterlies and you're not chasing, a year or 2 or year 3 down the line, that's tough. It's tough. And I'm not talking about one company in particular. It's pretty much every publicly traded company, that was the one thing. Cox Media Group, for years before they got sold, like, they were essentially a private company. And Cox Communications, they're connected with the same Cox. And they don't have to worry about, I know, but they don't have to worry about what Wall Street says about the thing that they're going to do with fiber installations, or with, this radio station, or trying a new format here. They don't have to worry about Wall Street. They just do it. And if it doesn't work, fine, we'll flip it to something else. But they have to work like, oh, well, you missed the forecast by 1 penny. We're going to kill you 60% down. Like, that when you have, there are two sides of the brain. There's the analytical side and there's the emotional side. And a lot of us in radio are on this side. And then the reality is more on this side. And I just want to bring it to the center, because I think if this is working at its full capacity, then this will earn at its full capacity. Exactly. That's what I like. Ultimately, you know what? Listen, I know this all comes down to sales. And the thing is, if people trust the people they're listening to and love the people they're listening to, when they tell you to go do something, you're more apt to do it. So if you get personalities that are well-loved and you let them be well-loved, and then they say, go buy this cheeseburger, they are more apt to do it, which is more apt to make the cheeseburger place continue to advertise or maybe up their buy. Like, I'm not trying, I'm trying to be on both sides of the brain here. So I'm not trying to just be emotional brain, but like, I know it's all about dollars. Like, why can't we have candy every day? Like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but it's like, I just know that if we have everything working, it's like the freaking environment. Like, if everything's working symbiotically, this will work. Radio is such an amazing medium, and it's not, I don't think we're radio anymore. We are digital, and we should just be everywhere with the talent we have, because the talent we have is great. Yep. I just want to see us fully utilize that talent and not leave any dollars and leave any viewers and listeners out there. I just want to take it all. And the way I think we take it all is not by jukeboxing, but it's by entertaining, and it's by creating human connection. Human connection sells. Like, that's the thing with podcasts. Oh my God, when it comes to advertisements and podcasts, when a freaking podcast you love, the guy says to try Mack Weldon underwear, You're more likely to try the Mac at Weldon underwear. You're more likely to try ZipRecruiter, despite the fact you're not hiring anybody. Be like, you know what? Let me just log in because I like the guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's about. The only reason they do it is not because they heard the ad. It's because they heard that guy do the ad or that girl do the ad. Brings me back to the point. If the people love the person they're listening to, they are going to buy into what they're selling.
Yep.
That's it. We're all in this advertising world. I get it. Like, deep down inside, we are creative, but we also need to make sure the freaking bottom line is working. And that's how you do it. You got to create that trust with the listener. So when you do say something, and you got to make sure you're not, endorsing bull.
Right.
But when you do say something, they trust you, and they might go do it. Or they might, next time they buy that car. Like, with the fact that this freaking Twitch show has sold 3 cars from Chapman now.
I'm blown away by that.
It's amazing. It's so freaking cool. So, and it's not because I don't believe them. I bought a car from Chapman myself. So it's just like, again, it all comes down to trusted voices. We need more of them. We don't need less of them.
Exactly.
This will end eventually. I keep continuing.
No. I love it. I like I said, I love this stuff. I love when people are passionate about it and I feel like not enough people listen to this stuff when the people that are doing this shit are saying it. And then, years down the road, it's going to be like, oh, fuck, I should have started that Twitch channel. I should have started that, If
you're a talent and you have something more to say than you're allowed to say, you should have a Twitch channel yesterday. Get on it like now, even if it's not like the highest quality. Like, this is a webcam. I'm on a regular. It's a well lit. You can get these little LED lights. These cost $500. They're cheap as shit now. You get a few of those, and you can make it look halfway decent. You get some tchotchkes on a wall. Boom, you get a background, and get some friends together on a Zoom call or whatever it is, and you start there. And just prove yourself in a different way. You might not be able to do it behind the mic at that station, but you could do it behind your own mic. And that could get the attention of that station or the station across the street or across the country.
And years ago, you couldn't just do that. People couldn't just easily put equipment in their house to be able to get that stuff done. So
it's just stupid cheap now. It really is inexpensive.
And so is buying your .com. So
buy the .com for the love of God. There's another .show.
.show. Oh,
so
yeah.
I have freeforall.show. And freeforall.show, it gets the point across to you. Everyone defaults to .com, but if you can get your name as a .com, God damn it, get it. You don't even have to have the hosting, and you just buy the domain, $15 a year, and just own it.
At most.
Yeah, and then have your email go through that. So it's like joe@joeschmo.com, and you can have that forward to whatever email address you own. And if Gmail closes down tomorrow, you could switch to another one. But it makes it look like you have your brand together, because people are not looking for liner jocks. They're looking for brands now. They want that brand to be a liner jock. Like, they want you to look like you get your stuff together. We don't have to be beholden to we're only out of speakers now. I think that, we're going to get there. I just hope that we're not there too late. I want to get us to where we need to be. I know I keep saying the same thing.
No, you're fine.
I'm an evangelist for this stuff, man. That's why I got the morning show boot camp talking about this. Like, we need to be ubiquitous. Like, everywhere you look, we are there in some form or fashion. Billboard, Facebook, Twitch, station, app, everywhere.
100%. Like,
that's what I want us to be.
Preach it, Shawn, because I'm with you 100% on all this.
Hallelujah. Marie, I love you. You're doing, honestly, you are one of the people in this industry that gets it and wants to propel this industry forward. And we need more of that, not less. So, because we need that sort of why not attitude rather than the why attitude. And the more why not we have, and the more let's try that attitude, the more we're going to create the right kind of waves that aren't the what color is my toast wave, but instead the what can we do to get this huge wave. That's what we need. We need more golden tickets. We need more big thinking. Please clone yourself.
All right.
You're awesome.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye, Shawn.